Anthea and I share books, but we don't get much crossover because we like different books.
And we read for different reasons. I read for information. Yeah. Okay. I want to learn stuff. I read non-fiction. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I read for relaxing. So
I've got TV for that.
And we both have 3 books that we really like. We did read them a while ago. So, I mean, you can go and read a proper professional book reviewer if you want the proper professional book review. But this is what we think about these books that we like. Mm-hmm. Do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm going to start with this one. Mm-hmm. Zero Marginal Cost. It's the follow-up from Jeremy Rifkin's bestseller, The Third Industrial Revolution. Mm-hmm. And I read this when I first started working in sustainability. And I found it really useful because it's a positive vision for the future. Yeah. So lots of things. I generally don't read stuff about climate change because I find it as books for just reading because I find it way too heavy and depressing.
It's too close to the work we do every day.
Yeah, it feels like work. But this was great because it talks about how there are processes like circular economy systems that we're already using, like libraries, that exist that we can just roll out and fix some of these massive problems that seemed so unfixable.
Cool.
And so I was like, looks all really easy then. Let's do that. And then I got real evangelical and I started lending it out to people.
Yeah,
so
you
that's
did. Why you lent it to me and I gave it back. I was like, just summarise it.
I believe it. Yeah, so that's my first one.
Cool. Okay. Shall I do my first one? This is like opening Christmas.
I know it is. It's fun.
Okay, well, speaking of similar vein, I really like this book, The Day the World Stops Shopping by J.B. Mackinnon. And this is also a positive view of the future to do with consumption. And it's super easy to read, obviously, because it's on my list. But it's got lots of facts.
I read this too, and I remember it being really good. I didn't. Yeah. I found it quite like a good overview of all of the things, but like I said, I like to delve into things.
Yeah,
quite a lot, so
it
was a good starting point.
Overview. Yeah, it's quite utopia, but it's not. I mean, it's a good. I don't think it's a good. I don't even like shopping, so it's a good book for me. I was like, well, I've already stopped.
Yeah, when's everybody else going to catch up?
I never got going.
I didn't hop on that trend.
The train left the station without me. The shopping train. Something about Temu and Shein.
So I don't remember all of this. Shein. Yes. So I saw a video on TikTok that was about fossil fuel use in manufacturing in China and how every industry, the fossil fuel use has been slowly declining over the last 5 years, and fast fashion has been skyrocketing. Okay. So fashion companies like Temu and Shein have just taken all of that gains in sustainability and blown it out.
Yeah. I saw a thing about the number of planes they have to put on specially for Shein orders.
Oh.
It's like proper actual dedicated planes.
Interesting. That's massive.
This is all on, not us because we don't shop, but this is on individuals. Because a lot of things are about structural change, but this is stop buying so much crap. And that's what this is about. If we stop buying all of that, it's not about this is not about living off the land and growing your own lentils. It's about stopping buying $7 jumpsuits from Temu that you don't need.
Yeah. And it's always that conversation that you have with people, where does it need to be happening? Individuals can only do so much in companies and governments, but obviously there's so much that everybody can do in different spaces.
Well, yeah, a company that sells stuff is not going to exist if nobody buys stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because that idea of buying something that's so cheap. I mean, there is a cost of living crisis, and people don't have heaps of money to spend. But if you can afford to buy ethical bananas, buy ethical bananas.
I feel like that was a lead-in.
This is my lead-in to my next book. So this book is called Banana, A Global History. Yep. And it's amazing. It's very insightful. And I think that it's part of that whole thing of, like, we should all know where our food comes from and how it's grown and stuff. Yep. But the history of bananas is really interesting because it's fraught with, like, wars and slavery and shipping things around the planet, which is often the case with buying things. Yep. And obviously some of that stuff still happens today. And so I buy ethical bananas, and I will always buy ethical bananas when I can now, after reading this, because I didn't realise how bad and horrifying the history of a fruit could be.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess it is. Yeah. I mean, sugar was built on slave trade, so
I guess a lot of spices and tea and
coffee.
Yeah, but yeah, very interesting.
So we have some facts on bananas.
Yep.
All right. So can I borrow that one?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Good. All right. Well, my second one is amazing book called Wild Hope by Andrew Balmform, and this is quite old now. It was 2012, and it's probably the first book I ever read that was positive about the environment. And it's called On the Front Lines of Conservation Success, and it follows conservation projects and that are succeeding. So there's something in South Africa about restoring wilds in South Africa. Gosh. There's a thing from the US about woodpeckers.
Nice.
And I think getting farmers involved with like preserving woodpecker land, trees and stuff. There's things, butterflies in the UK. So there's like super nice stories.
All the lovely things
about stuff that works.
Yeah.
So like, oh, good.
Celebrating the successes.
But of course, like, and stuff does, like, you know, Miramar Peninsula in Wellington is now possum free.
Yeah.
And I think rat free.
Yeah.
Like,
it's pretty amazing.
Massive. There's massive conservation successes.
Yeah.
So, really, like, that's a really, I mean, yeah, there should be like a sequel every few years.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Keep cracking.
There you go.
Good one. My third book is No Logo by Naomi Klein.
Yeah.
And I actually noticed this because of its cover. I did judge a book by its cover, and it was great, as is the cover. Very dense. But an amazing read. She's a really, really good author. And it's about capitalism, essentially, and how brands market to people, and has case studies. The main one that I remember, because I read it a while ago, is on Nike, and how they, like, market to children and taking like trends from black neighbourhoods and, you know, all of these really interesting things that were really strategic. Yep. And let's face it, quite evil. And then all of the stuff in the manufacturing of all of these products as well. So very, very interesting. But it did take me a long time because I had to just look after my mental health while reading it. So I had to pace myself. Yeah. So I generally have like a heavy book like this and something easier on the go so that I can choose depending on what mood I'm in.
Yeah. Good plan. And I read that and it was good, but it was hard. It was hard for me.
It's very dense. Yeah. Very dense.
It's not my normal style.
Yeah. But yeah, she's great author.
Cool. Okay. My last book is a book that it's really, really good book, but it's not for me. So is it? I don't know. I really like this book
for other
people. But it was really interesting. So my last one is The Parents' Guide to Climate Revolution by DeMocker, and it's 100 ways to build a fossil-free future, raise empowered kids, and still get a good night's sleep. I thought that's awesome.
That's what I want.
So it's each chapter has got like a theme, and then it's got some information, and then it's got things you can do, like depending on your time or your money or your abilities. So it's really, really good. It's basically a book about being an activist. So it's very activisty. Yeah. So it's not about changing the light bulbs. I think she says this is not about changing the light bulbs. This is about protesting and writing to your council and making submissions and all of that stuff, because that's the stuff that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can change your light bulbs as well, but don't get caught up on it.
Yeah.
It's also really arty. She's really
Okay.
arty. So she does this, you should do this. You've got a front lawn that people pass. She makes installations to do with climate change on her front lawn.
That's
super cool. And I read this and I was like, I'm not arty and I'm not an activist. And then I remembered that we have a climate change focused toy company filled with art.
It's interesting the strengths that people bring to things though, and like the areas that we find the most interesting and drawn to.
Yeah,
like, you and I are quite different in that.
Yeah, because like there's 100 things, so of course there are some that I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. But I recommend that everybody reads it.
Picks a few.
Really good.
Yeah,
really good book.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Nice. Some good ones out there, isn't there?
Yeah, those are that's how I like highly professional book review.
Pretty happy with that.
Yeah, same.